Hold up. Wait a minute. I have not been able to focus lately, okay? Lokai's just shuffling around. Hold on. Lay down, my little Marushka. Hey, little Marushka. Ow. I'm back. Are you good, babe? Are you okay? What are these eyebrows? Bye. Okay. Pearl goes to therapy. Where is it? I have not set it up. I downloaded it, but I did not set. It looks like I'm in a gang. It's like not funny. Sorry, I'm from Chicago, so it's okay. I did get approved. You good? I got approved to do YouTube, or I'm sorry, TikTok from this setup. However, I don't know anybody in the chat below that's familiar with how to use Windows apps on a Mac. It involves like not a converter. What is it? I downloaded a few types and it was brutal to say the least. And it's not allowing me to use my camera, which goes into 4K. It's only coming up as like 720. And so it's lagging significantly. It's like, we need something that's about 1080p. And I was like, well, what the fuck? So I tried taking my phone and connecting it that way. Couldn't figure it out. There's a whole order of operations that I don't have the focus for, obviously. Not as of late, been struggling. It's like I jinxed myself. I really did. I was like, I never miss a day. Okay, granted. Bye. Okay, I won't say anything else. Pearl goes to therapy. I put the original video in the description box if you guys want to check out David Sutcliffe. I've reviewed him before with Tate and I gave him a lot of shit because I don't like when people pretend to be physicians. It's like one of my bigger pet peeves. Is he a physician? I haven't updated and looked, but I watched a little bit of this video with Pearl and maybe I am just hyper aware of social situations. Maybe it's because I know Pearl and like that as well, but Pearl's smart. I'm like, does she know what he's doing? Like, here's the thing is if you're going to have somebody like Pearl on or some controversial figure, like trying to be buddy to like pretend you're on their level, it comes off fake and I don't like it. I was like, Pearl, don't fall for it in my head. Let's do it.
Know you more. Just feel that when I say that though, Pearl.
To think of something.
But don't think.
Okay.
Just see what happens when I say I want to know you more. And what happens?
You're kind of creepy.
I was trying to think of something.
Don't think. Can you get out of your mind for a second?
Pearl.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just feel. And when I say that I want to know you more, just notice what happens.
I'm uncomfortable.
What happens?
This is weird.
So I think it's really wrong to deprive children of that. And I think it's wrong to deprive men of being fathers to their kids.
Why are you so passionate about this? Because, we were talking about it before we went live and you have all of this fire around it, which is great. I love it. And I agree with most of what you say. I mean, and all of what you say essentially in principle. And I'm glad that you're taking up the cause, but do you know why you're so passionate about this?
I think it just changed me when I interviewed men who were like a mile from their kids and hadn't seen them in 3 years. Like I had to stop doing so many interviews of divorced men because it would seriously depress me. It was so sad. Like It would be like fathers that, and it's not the players. It's not like the deadbeat dads that they paint like fathers that are not in their kids' lives. The most common trope I got was a guy that wanted to be a traditional father. He wanted to provide. He found a chick. He liked the chick. He married the chick. He had a normal job. And then, she puts an abuse claim out. Now, it's never followed up by the police. A lot of times during COVID, it would get pushed off the what do you call it? Like the trial for it. And so by the time he got to court, she had the primary care of the children, and that was what they based custody off of.
Right.
So it's like you meet these dads who it's like they don't care about the money. They just want to see their kids.
Yeah.
And it's been 2 years, 3 years since they've seen their kids, or they get them every other week. Like one guy that we didn't actually release this because his case was like that. He ended up wanting to not, his daughter was in the house with a pedophile. He couldn't do anything.
His daughter was in the house with a pedophile? The new boyfriend was a pedophile and he couldn't do anything about it?
Couldn't do anything about it.
It was
because the court systems favor women because they believe that children are better off with their mothers generally. Although the data doesn't suggest that.
Not at all. The women are the most likely ones to abuse children.
Right. But I mean, I've heard you say this before, and I've heard the pushback is, well, they're around the children
but if
more.
That was the I looked into that, and if that were the case, if it was based on the time that the mother spent with the kids, women are spending less time with children, but abuse is going up. So that doesn't make sense.
Right.
But that's what I mean.
But either way, women are hitting and abusing their children. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah, we don't like to talk about it.
And if the man, because what they'll do is this is what I mean when they, like, the academics find the craziest ways to like move stats. If you look at, because they'll say, oh, well, it's close, men and women. Well, who are the men abusing the kids? The freaking stepdads. So if the dad abuses the kid, it's most likely a stepfather. Yeah. Yep.
No, I've heard that too. It's so disturbing. I had a stepdad. He wasn't abusive, but he did when my mom left him.
Yeah.
But hold on. She's right. It is stepfathers, but then if stepfathers do that, why would that make a case for why men should be with their kids? Now you're like, well, hold on. Obviously, when it's your child. However, in certain communities, and you can do the research yourself, there are dads that do the bad thing. Is it men at large? I fucking hope not. But there is a threat. You can read Louise Perry's The Case Against the Sexual Revolution, and she goes into all of that. But like, if like your case is to have dads, which I would, if my parents got divorced, I would have 100% lived with my dad. But I also am coming to realize the older I get, like a lot of people don't have relationships like I know I do. So if stepfathers are more abusive or are some dad, it literally is my dad. Hold on.
And he was he was in the picture. He took over. And when my mom left him, he completely abandoned me. And when I went through all my therapy, that was actually the deepest wounding, that a man had just completely betrayed me. So, yeah. Anyway, stepdads. The abuse is coming from the stepdads.
Yeah. So it's like, I don't know, you do these interviews, and it's like you see a guy in front of you, and all he wants is to see his kids. Some of them are homeless. Some of them are ex-veterans. And some of them, in the next year, if they committed suicide, I wouldn't be surprised. And a lot of them do. And I just think it's so wrong.
But your heart opens up to these men. Like, you care about it because there's a lot of causes that you could care about. There's a lot of injustice in the world. Why this one? Do you know?
I don't know.
I
mean, I do love my dad a lot. I always talk about him, but I don't even think that's it. Because, I mean, my parents are still together. But
what's their relationship
see the
like?
chat.
They're still married. They've been.
Are they happy?
Yeah, I think so.
You think so?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Well, I mean, like, they have problems like any married couple, but I mean, they built like a business together, so it would kind of be everything that like the trads would, Claire. But
What's their dynamic? Who has the power?
I didn't hear that part.
Depends on the day, to be honest.
Well, that's a good answer. It's equal.
No, I wouldn't say
Oh, really? Who's got the power?
I don't know. I don't think they'd really want me like talking about their marriage.
Well, but we're talking about you.
Yeah.
But
well,
your perception.
It's so bold of like therapists to push a boundary. What the fuck? She just said no.
I think it depends on the day. Like that's what I would say.
Yell at him.
Okay.
Yell at him.
What's your mother like?
Boss.
She's like hardworking. So she's very organized, hardworking chick.
You close?
Not super close with my mom, but it's not like we like hate each other. It's just not like overly close, I guess.
How is that? You're not close with your mother?
It's all right, you know.
It's all right?
Yeah, it's all right.
Would you prefer to be closer to your mother in a perfect world?
Maybe. Like if I'm moving home this year, so part of it's just been like me being in England, you know? So I'm not as close with like my family because it's like I'm across the ocean.
Yeah, of course.
So.
Did something happen between you and your mother? I mean, I understand you want to protect your mother and your family, and I totally respect that. And I'm just curious about any way that I want to understand your
I'm about to whoop some ass. Mama Torsh. What do you mean?
psychology, right? I want to understand what happened to you, and I want to do it honestly, Pearl, in a good way. Like I'm not here to like expose you or I just want to understand you, and and I also think that would be an interesting conversation. And I think that
What is this?
you're such a huge public figure now. Like people are so curious about you, and like you get analyzed all the time.
Yeah.
True.
You know, and people are speculating. I actually haven't speculated. I haven't thought about it because I don't know. I just wanted to see what happened when we're across from each other and what I noticed or what I felt. How does that land when I say that? How does that feel?
Weird.
It's fine. All right.
All right. You're not close with your mother. Is there a reason?
She just told you.
Yeah, she's just very like type A, I guess. She's very organized, and I'm very like da 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 da. You know. So I just think sometimes like those two personalities kind of like clash. You know.
Did you feel disapproval from her because of the way you were?
Well, I mean, she was annoyed.
She was annoyed by you?
Yeah, because I was messy, you know. But no, not like super crazy, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah.
You didn't. Something got missed.
Yeah, I just think like I don't know. Have you ever had like a messy person live in with like a super org? It just doesn't. Just there's clashing.
Yeah.
Mom, I forgot my bag at home.
And that would annoy her?
Yeah, it would.
And what would she say? Would she scold you?
Yeah, but then she'd get it.
Then she'd get it.
Or send the nanny or whoever.
Dude, I can just feel like you must have been a precocious child.
What do you mean a precocious?
Like, well, you're smart, sassy, kind of. All children are manipulative.
Okay.
They want to get what they want, and they have all kinds of tactics to do that. And I have a feeling that you were probably really good at it. How could you not be? You're really good at arguing.
I mean, I was just really into sports. Like that's when I think of my childhood, I just think of sports.
But what do you think about what I just said?
Like I was manipulating them.
Not all children manipulate to get what they want. They don't have any other tactic. What did you want but you didn't get as a child, do you think?
Calling somebody manipulative, even if it's all children, like what? I don't like that. I'm whatever.
I don't know, because My parents were so supportive in like what I wanted to do. So like if I wanted to play drums, they bought me a drum set.
Yeah.
Sorry, mom and dad, that didn't pan out. I don't play drums.
I love drums.
But yeah, I mean, I would like
Right, Andrew? I see you.
trying to think. What did I get that I didn't?
What did you need from
Mm,
them?
So I can't show the comments on StreamYard because I had the video privated and then I put it public. But Andrew, yes, word.
I mean, they traveled a lot. So, and I was one of like 10 siblings. So maybe like sometimes I wanted them like home more.
Oh,
But it's kind of hard to even say that because I was gone all the time. I did travel volleyball from the time I was like 12.
right.
And so I
Whoa.
did like 2 sports right out of school. So I would do like 2 hours of basketball, 2 hours of volleyball, drive an hour, go home.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
But you weren't home a lot, but it doesn't mean that you still didn't want them home more.
Yeah.
You wanted them more attention, more.
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, 9 kids. I
Yeah.
know you grew up with 6.
Yeah, it's kind of confusing. But yeah.
Yeah, I remember.
Second to 6.
Yeah, second is 6. And so all the kids, they must have been competing for attention to some degree.
Yeah, probably. But I guess the way it was in my family, like everyone just wanted to be like good at stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So
Why good at stuff? Was that important? Was that a value?
Yeah.
Championed by who?
My dad.
Really?
My mom too, but my dad, like, I don't know. He was just very, because we grew up pretty like well off, or at least maybe upper middle class, early childhood. They got their business like took off when I was a little bit older, but
Took off. Like how rich were they? How wealthy did they get?
well, I don't know. Like they did pretty well.
Pretty well.
Fuck you, money. Fuck you, money. The man has a compound on the land of a mansion. Pearl, so humble. I got lost in her house. Fuck you, money. Probably, if I had to guess. Let me see.
And enough to have like a nanny. Like I did travel volleyball.
Right.
that
More
sort of
than
thing.
Not
one.
a private jet, but everything you
Oh
need.
God, no.
Right,
No,
right.
that's
But-
like a different level. of
Right.
rich.
But enough money.
Yeah, but my dad was just very much like no handouts for you guys. If you're not working a job, you're in a sport. If you're not in a sport, you're in music. Like you are doing something. And so every single person in my family is just very like high achievers, I guess, or
Mhm.
like, like I have a sister that's going to be a pilot. My brothers are engineers, So everyone's just really
Smart.
hardworking, I guess.
They're really smart.
Yeah. And then we would do like we would travel in the summer, and I never understood what it was like to go on vacation and relax. I was like, what, you guys go to the beach? Like we hiked 10,000 feet when I was 18. My sister was 10 years younger
Whoa.
than me. And so like on vacation, it was like, no, you're not going to the city, relaxing. We're going to go. We climbed Devil's Tower.
Uh-huh.
We would never fly. We'd always drive. My dad was like, we are not getting plane tickets. It's
Wow.
too expensive. So
Was the message you must be an achiever or you won't get love? Like,
not love, but like, I mean, he just wouldn't be happy, But I loved
who wouldn't be happy?
probably my dad, but I like loved it, to be honest.
Was there a demand on you? Did you feel a demand, like an expectation, like you had to live up to something?
Yeah, but I liked it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like it was
Should I ask Pearl?
I don't know. I love
I asked ChatGPT because when I tried to Google it, I couldn't figure it out. And early stage startup software companies with limited revenue might be valued at 1 to 3 times their annual revenue. For example, if a startup generates $500,000 in annual revenue, it might be valued at $500,000 to $1.5 million. Growing companies, so the next one, typically in the range of 3 to 8 times their annual revenue, might be valued higher because of scalability. For instance, if a software company earns $1 million in annual revenue, it might be valued $3 to $8 million. Established. This is where I would guess. Established, profitable companies with strong growth prospects and a proven track record might command even higher multiples, ranging from 5 to 15 times their annual EBITDA, earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization. Amortization. Okay. If a company generates 2 million in EBITDA, EBITDA, it might be valued at 10 million to 30 million or more. I was going to say, I'd bet probably around whatever Tate has. But when he said the private jet, I was like, oh, maybe not. Final answer. Cheers.
Loved the feeling of like working really hard at something and getting better. So I was like, I was 12.
And the compound looks literally like Equinox. Like if you were to build an Equinox the size of LA Fitness. Is LA Fitness the one right below that? Yeah, then there's Export that we have over here. It's huge. Small mall size, like giant.
12 when I started travel volleyball, I was on like the worst team.
They have like a cherry lifter in that thing, if that's what that's called.
My dad would always say, just work hard and you can work your way up. And like by the time I was 18, I was on the third team, I was a bench warmer. And by the time I was 18, I was on the ones team and I was starting.
Yeah.
And so that's like, it's just kind of a value that he instilled in us because, he would always tell me that like, if he had two employees, if he had one that was talented and one that was hardworking, he would take the hardworking one. Cause he would tell me like early in life, the talented people are going to win, but in the long run, you're going to see who worked hard.
Right.
So
you work hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. All the time. I mean, you seem everywhere all the time. It's astonishing.
Something that I noticed just from what I met her dad, like I know she's saying he pushes and that stuff, and I'm sure he does, but he seems very hands-on. Like there's one thing when parents will be like, why you get no A? But then they like go to their job and they're never there. Like it seemed like, at least from the short time that I was there, like her brother and her dad were doing something with software. I was like, oh, that's dope. So it's like you have the help, but you have somebody that really knows what they're talking about helping you, and it's your dad. I feel like that's pretty dope.
How much you tweet. I mean, you're kind of like Cernovich level.
Oh, I know. I love tweeting. It's the best job ever. I'm like, all I have to do is tweet. This is amazing.
But you just let the thoughts roll. Do you think about it, or are you just rolling them out?
I just roll.
You just roll.
Yeah. Because,
and let the chips fall where they may.
I'm so sorry. I can't put the super chat on the screen because I was stupid and didn't put it public before, but I see you, Mark. Thank you for the super chat. Keep your girl off OnlyFans one shit at a time. Good show. Love you.
Yeah.
And do you ever go like,
Yeah, sometimes.
But you live with it.
Yeah, sometimes I'm like, yeah, I probably could have worded that better, but
right.
It's fine. But I don't understand. People get so mad, and I'm like, why are you guys mad? It's just words.
Right. Well, you know why they get mad.
No, I don't.
You don't?
No, because it's like, they're just words.
Well,
how are you as an adult? Like oh my gosh, they're so crazy. I'm like, you as an adult are getting mad about words.
Well, you're attacking sacred cows for them, like things that they hold dearly. And I'm not there. As I said, I generally agree with you, and I think a lot of those beliefs are illusions. Nevertheless, they're very attached to them, and so of course they're going to have a reaction to that.
Yeah, but so what? Why do you have to freak out?
Yeah.
If you knew that a delicious looking strawberry was going to poison you, would you still eat it? Hold on. If you knew that it would give you an allergic reaction, would you eat it? No. Would you eat a cake that you know? Or I'm sorry, would you eat a cake if you knew it was poison? even if it's really good. It was poison. Okay, would you read a book that you knew you would really like, but it's in another language? Like, no, I wouldn't understand it, so why would I read it? Would you blame the strawberry if you got an allergic reaction? No, because you knew that you were allergic to it. Would you blame the cake if you got sick? Same thing as a strawberry. Would you blame the book for confusing you? No, because I couldn't understand the language. Then why do we keep things in our life that we know are not good for us and then blame them for how we feel? I said that's so choppy. Okay. Why do we keep things in our life that we know are not good for us and then blame them for how we feel? That pretty much summarizes that. It's like if you know that Pearl pisses you off, why do you watch her? Why? You know it. She's going to make you mad.
Yeah,
Chill out.
But if they chilled out, you wouldn't have a career.
Well, no, I think I would.
Yeah, she
'Cause
would.
My first videos, the girls were super chill. That was actually what made it really fun. Was I would do a show and I would say, you know, the pay gap doesn't exist, and the girls are like, huh? And I'd say, hey, come back after the show. Let's do a 3-hour reaction. I'm going to explain to you really slowly why this is true. And people loved watching like girls' opinions like slowly changing.
Yeah.
It wasn't even combative. It was just me like, look at this.
Yeah, that's when I first saw you. It was really good and interesting.
Fun.
Yeah, it was fun. So it started you educating women, feminists, I guess, about some of the illusions of feminism because those illusions are actually causing them harm.
They called me the tour guide of the Jordan Peterson, Kathy Newman debate. I did that one so many times.
Right. You mean you'd walk them through it, you'd watch it, and you'd explain to them what was going on and why?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, so that's why I'm like, I think even if they weren't triggered, I think I could still do it in a non-combative way.
Right.
I actually sometimes I don't even really.
Well, you must enjoy. It's fun. You like arguing.
No, not really.
Really?
I don't like.
You like conversation.
Yeah, I like.
You
conversation.
get. This is the analysis that I had. Listen to Michael Knowles. That you get connection through conversation.
Yeah.
Like you like the feeling of connection. You probably flirt through conversation and even a little bit of argument.
Yeah, I don't prefer it when it's super combative. I don't really like it. I don't.
Who's come at you hard in a way that was uncomfortable and you felt unfair?
H3 for sure.
H3, yeah. Well, he's an asshole.
Yeah, I know. Pierce Morgan, we're cool now, but he did ambush me one time.
Hafiz?
I didn't appreciate that.
I don't understand his style. He did that to Tate. I'm like, why are you cutting off, super direct? It's like a challenge. I don't get it.
Most of the time he's been fine. Mostly it's just like super combative women like on shows. Like I had one chick start
But you can slay those chicks, can't you?
I mean, yeah, but I don't really like. I was just on Fresh and Fit like a week
but
ago.
there's like a vibe. I know that word, but there's something that happens because it's like we're women, females, if you will. So there's like when you start to hold up a mirror to their behavior or find faults in it, I know exactly what they're going to say. I'm sure Pearl does. It's like, well, men do this. And it's like when you have to push them on something, sometimes that makes them fake cry. Sometimes it makes them really cry. Sometimes it makes them combative, like physically, like while you're on the show.
That's why I stopped doing the shows, is I didn't like how combative it was. I don't enjoy having to
see.
tell girls to shut the fuck up because you've been talking for 20 minutes and you haven't been letting anyone else talk. Like, I don't enjoy that. And I was just on Fresh and Fit, and it was like these girls start punching each other.
What?
Yeah, they got into a literal fist fight. I'm like, what the?
It's Jerry Springer style.
Yeah, and I didn't like it. I like talking to people that like actually want to figure out what's true. And when I feel like it's becoming like an insult off, or it's like you have an agenda for your cause, or you're trying to recruit me to your religion, like that's when I get frustrated, because it's not about like what is true. And I've always been like a super curious person. Just really curious.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where it all started for me, was like curiosity. Why don't men want to get married anymore? Why are they saying dating is so bad? Like, this, I've never heard this content. This is so interesting.
Yeah.
And then I interviewed 1,000 women. I interviewed men that got effed up in divorce, and I'm like, oh, I see what they're talking about now.
People like talking to you.
Sometimes. Some people don't, but yeah, some people don't.
No, some people don't. But even the people who don't kind of like talking to you because it's something.
Yeah.
There's something, maybe that's your gift. I mean, it's enjoyable to talk to you because you're straightforward, and you're honest, and you're transparent, and you say what you think. But you're not hard.
Yeah.
Like, I don't feel a demand like that I get it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I love talking to people. So so yeah, it's fun.
You love talking to people.
But not
Why?
I've just always been really curious. And I love pointing out like behavior patterns. And I'm sure you probably like this too.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So it's really interesting, like, even with family court, like, I felt like I figured out why society's all messed up. Like, I was like, oh, this is why everything's going on.
Right.
Women.
Well, I think there's something to that. I mean, I could take the other side, but let's and I will. You know what I mean? Like, because I think men do bear some responsibility, but your general message is, well, what I heard on the Michael Knowles podcast, and I've heard you say in other places, is that
Well, why would they?
Right. Because they get bailed out.
Yeah.
And they're not held
assisted in-
accountable.
Yeah. Well, and even like, we don't even pay taxes. We're on more.
What do you mean?
We're on, if you look at women that are on alimony and have debt, we have more debt than the money we make.
The women on alimony is less than 10% of all divorces. Men have more, or women have more student loan debt. Men have more credit card debt.
So
You're one of them.
No, not me. Sorry, guys. Not me, but.
Well, how is that? Your side, your sex, your gender is they're in your mind are the bad guys.
I wouldn't say the bad guys.
But they're responsible for the problems in society.
Yeah.
Aren't men, if men lead, aren't ultimately they responsible?
How can they lead without authority?
Well,
what authority does a man have over his wife? How can he enforce it? I want to leave. Okay, please don't.
No, we have these things like autonomy.
What is he? I want to rob you and steal your kids. Please don't. What is he?
You guys know that the reason men are not allowed to move when there's divorce court is because historically they would leave and never pay it. Like, they're trying to keep them accountable, because despite the really good men, which I'm not saying she hasn't talked to really good men, you have to remember the dads that are fighting for custody are technically like the very small, really good men in the eyes of the court. Like, arguably way better parents. Should they get custody? Yes. Like, but the men who fight for custody is a very small percentage. And most of the time, they're granted it. There is a smaller proportion of men that don't get it. And I believe those are the men that she's talking about. But there has been a lot, like half the reason why marriage is a thing is to keep the dad with the offspring, because women birth the child. So there's more connection there. There's physical signs that you bring a baby to a woman who had just had a C-section, the baby's crying, you put the baby up to the mom's head and it's suddenly asleep. That baby was in mom. There is a connection, whether it comes out or not. But men, they never really had that. And so the offspring that do better in life are the ones where the dad invests resources into them. Okay, well, what happens when you and mom aren't together? Is it always her fault if the resources are not being allocated there? I believe there's like 70% of like 70% of the men who pay child support pay it through garnished wages. So what does that say? That means that at their own free will, they don't, which is honestly really sad. But if I was a dude, so if I stepped into a dude's shoes and my wife was a manipulative little fuck, like a narcissist or something, I had to pay that money. Like I could just imagine all the ways that they would hold it against my head. And like it would be obvious that they didn't use it on the kid. So I get it. I'm not saying I don't get it. I'm just telling you that that's a really big proportion. And like it's not, I understand that you shouldn't have to pay mom, but I also understand that like if you want the child to succeed and not die, just in general, just historically, they needed the resource from the father. So what happens when father doesn't want to pay? Who pays for it? The state. Well, guess what? The state can't. Imagine if the state took on the entire load of this single mom pandemic. Do you really want to be forced to stay with her? Because that's the other argument I hear is like, well, maybe we should just not be able to get divorced. And it's like, so you want to be in a sexless marriage for the rest of your life when you could be single and happy? Dude, men historically, well, they'll take the boot to the head. They'll go to war. It's like, think about what you're saying right now. Divorce is not the best thing. I think there's a way that divorced parents can make it okay for the kid. They even had new research that came out that the parents' overall happiness determines the child's outcomes. And actually, I've been hearing a lot of happiness debates, which are fascinating to me because I didn't realize people will assume happiness is hedonism. And should you be striving for happiness? It didn't occur to me that that's something that maybe secularists don't know how to articulate when they're in debates with those that are conservative predominantly, at least the few that I've come across. And it's like, to be fulfilled is happiness. Happiness is like, there's a difference between hedonism and hedonism and happiness. Hedonism is like a self-indulgence. Happiness is not that. And it's like, would you rather have two absolutely miserable people raising you in the same household, screaming at each other? I mean, like, that's where I come from. Maybe that's why I'm so fucking miserable. Ever think of that? What do you look for when you look for a partner? We can talk how we want the hot person. We want the one that's good in bed. We want the one that does XYZ. But let's be honest, if we really got specific, you want to be with somebody who has a positive outlook on life. Prove me wrong. Have you ever been with a miserable fuck like me? It's miserable. What do you get when you're with somebody miserable? it's like, get me the fuck out of this shit. Right? Then imagine marriage. You know, like, yeah, ideally we want people to stay together, but we're not going to get there until we address the root problem, which is happiness, mood, fulfillment. They did an equation in this economic book. It was like the economic equation for happiness or something, and there was a few pillars of it, and one of them was it was like autonomy, but the autonomy broke down into like, do you still play the sports you were into? Do you still go on the hikes and take photos? Do you still do XYZ? And that, along with having really solid relationships, like friendships, whatever, but then also a solid partner, whatever that means to you, marriage, whatever, like those are the things that go into this equation that economists were like, this is what makes people genuinely happy. I forget when the book came out, but it came out when $75,000 a year was like probably like $75,000 is a lot to me. But like my dad struggled a lot, and he had 4 kids. We lived in a very nice area, and he was the only one working. He made about 80 to 100,000. 100,000 was like when I was applying to college. So 2013 and before that. So 75,000 though for, I believe it was one person. I'll find the book if you guys are interested, but don't mix up hedonism and happiness, because like depression is so serious. It's so serious. And I know they say that men are 3 times more likely to commit suicide because they're more likely to use lethal whatever. And they're like, there's no history of mental illness. Well, we know men are less likely to seek help, which, by the way, have no fear. Therapy is there. It's low key. One of the secret gems. You hear how people will hire a coach, for their business and shit. Go to a therapist. It's like the same thing, but you don't have to pay for it if you have insurance. Just saying. But anyways, if we think that doing something for yourself that brings you fulfillment, whatever, that's not selfish. That's your mental, emotional, arguably physical well-being. For those that have never had depression, it will ruin every part of your life. It makes you move slower, like motor functions. It makes you have less cognitive sharpness. It makes you not take care of yourself and all these things. And the taking care of yourself, I think, is one of the first things to drop off. So like if you find you're not brushing your teeth, if you find you're not showering every day like you used to, before you think that, oh, I'm just tired, there might be something else going on. And if wanting to like tell a depressed person that they're just selfish, it's so wild. They'll probably believe you. They'll probably believe it. And you shouldn't. I just think that striving for a happy life is not self-indulgence. And quite frankly, you want a good community of people, they need to have a good up here. They need to be mentally strong.
I could argue that she wouldn't have that thought or impulse to do that if the man wasn't weak.
Tom Brady wasn't weak.
He let his wife train jujitsu with another man. He should have not said, he should have.
I mean,
no,
I guess
no.
half of billionaires are divorced. So if you think you're smarter than a billionaire, then good luck.
I'm not. I do think.
I'm
not smarter, but I think
Yeah.
I understand something about male female dynamic. I think I think men need to take responsibility for their lack of their lack of claiming authority in the relationships. I understand why they do it.
Let's play that out.
Yeah.
I wanna. Okay, let's play it out.
Let's play it out. Yeah, let's role play.
Baby, I wanna train jujitsu.
That's fine.
Okay, I want to do it with that guy.
I'm gonna come in and meet that guy. I'm gonna
Okay,
talk to that guy.
Okay, there you met him. Now what?
Yeah, then I'm gonna fucking give him the fucking business. I'm gonna look him over, right? And I'm gonna like have that moment with him. It's like I know the like fucking there's gonna be problems, and I'm gonna keep him in check.
Okay.
Really?
You
You're
know?
so
right, so
jealous.
now-
Like meaning I'm gonna protect my territory. Brady wasn't
Okay.
protecting his
Okay, no,
territory.
let's
And
continue.
if you don't
Let's
protect
continue.
Come
your
on,
territory,
Carl.
then your wife is gonna fuck
go.
someone else.
Yeah, let's go with this. Right?
Yeah.
I say, all right. Now, okay, I'm training with him now. See, have fun at training camp. Now what? Stop it.
No, well,
Okay. Well, it's not the jujitsu. I want to go next door and sleep with another.
why does she want to do all those things? Because she's not paying attention to her. If he was giving her the attention that she needed, she wouldn't be out fucking some other guy.
Why would she marry Tom Brady and expect to get a ton of attention?
For sure. But I mean, I saw it happen when he retired and then he came out of retirement and he probably like that false promise. Probably what he said is, "Oh, I'm just spending more time with the family. Football's over."
Why
and
would
then
she ask that of him?
why should
Like, why would you? My question is,
Because
why would you marry?
he could get hit in the head at older age and end up psychotic.
Tom Brady with that expectation?
Well, I think you
True.
That's a fair question.
And
I'm not saying that she doesn't bear responsibility, but I'm saying both parties bear responsibility.
Why would you, if you had a baby and you just gave birth to a newborn or just a toddler or something, would you go on your motorcycle more often? Would you, even if you rode in the rain before, are you still gonna ride in the rain on a Friday where a lot of people are drunk driving? Would you still do it? You're probably gonna wait a little bit until the rain goes away, at least the first part of it. So it's like shit changes
in that situation. And I think there is a way, just as if a man is fucking around, you have to look at the wife and like, and you hear women say this, well, were you taking care of your man? And I think the opposite is also true. No?
No, I think if he was gone for 8 months of the year, or I don't know what it is, but I know that professional, maybe I'm thinking basketball, but I know professional athletes travel a lot for work. For games, the seasons are long, whatever. He can't watch her 24/7. If it wasn't him, I just think it was going to be someone else.
Right.
I think when a woman wants to cheat, she wants to cheat.
Yeah. No,
I don't really think there's anything you can do to stop it. When a woman,
there was some study that came out. I have to find it. It was like on TikTok because when I tried to find it later, I couldn't. Maybe it's not true. I don't know, but it said that women and men both cheat at the same amount. The difference between it, though, and it's not what you're thinking, women feel less remorse when they do it. So instead of the conversation like she only cheats for like emotional, no, she doesn't even consider it cheating, but it happens. Like men will feel guilty. According to this study I couldn't find.
woman wants to do the wrong thing. And there's no way for men to enforce this. Please don't cheat. Well, I have Instagram. Please don't cheat. Well, there's these dating apps. Please don't cheat. Well, I'm going to walk to the grocery store. Like if she wants to cheat, she's going to cheat and she's responsible.
I don't believe that. I mean, I believe that, but I believe that a woman is not going to cheat on a man that she respects. And why doesn't she respect him is the question. Do you think, right? Don't you agree with that? Are you going to cheat on a man that you actually respect?
No.
No, I wouldn't cheat, but I think that women are either cheaters or they're not. I just think it's a character flaw.
Yeah.
Do you believe in the patriarchy?
Yeah.
What do you mean believe in it?
Well, do you think that is the right order?
Yeah.
That men should lead in the culture? I mean, if you believe women shouldn't vote, you have to believe in the patriarchy.
Yeah, I think it would be better. Well, when you say believe, it's like there's no magic wish list. It's never going to happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But as a standard to try and live up to.
Yeah, fine.
Aim for.
Yeah. Yes.
I don't think there's any way around it. Like I said, we can live in a patriarchy, except I'm going to be at the top too. Okay. You need my opinions. You want me to keep these women sane. So everybody but me.
I do believe in that.
Just kidding.
Yeah. So if you are the leader, right? If you're the leader of your corporation, man or woman,
Can I ask this question? This is just in America. Just in America. Give me an instance where women are not in a position. Women are going to bow down. It's either to their husband or the employer. And that makes me think about it in a full circle way. It's like, do women ever really lead in the home? They do. Not so much anymore. I will be dominating my relationship. Just kidding. I love being insane.
if things go wrong in your corporation, that's on you.
But you have the right to fire people, and that keeps them in line. No, I'm serious. There has to be some enforcement arm when you have an authority.
Right.
And that's the problem is, okay, yeah, I can fire you, but yeah.
She means men have to be willing to walk away. I don't think most men would. They might pretend to. Like, yeah, I'm just kidding. When men fall in love, they fall in love hard.
Oh, great. You get half of my fortune, my children, and you could throw an abuse allegation on your way out the door. I don't think that's authority. And that's the problem is you can be the most alpha guy in the world. Maybe you picked wrong. You know, things change over time. Women change. Maybe she got in the wrong group of friends. Maybe
maybe Brady wasn't fucking her.
Maybe, I don't know. But my whole point is that right now they don't have authority. There's no enforcement.
Men, but but that you're implying that authority comes from somewhere outside themselves. And what I'm suggesting is the authority must come from within the man.
Well, I've seen a lot of guys that tried. I've met a lot of guys that tried that authority from. I just watched a video today, and the guy was like,
"Did your mom dominate your father?"
It was. No, not really. My dad was just a busy guy. Like he was just working. He was.
Did your dad stand up to her?
I mean, at times I wasn't really involved in their marriage.
No, of course not. But you see, you're a kid. You see things. You feel the vibe. You get the vibe of things.
When I was a kid, I would say they actually got along better than most of my friends.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say, like when I was growing up, I remember even like I had this guy named Anthony I was friends with in high school. And he said, it's weird to see parents that get along. I've never seen my parents flirt like yours do.
Oh.
So I don't know. I mean, they weren't like, I'm not trying to say they were perfect. You know, they had like their problems, but I don't really want to go in.
I understand.
But it wasn't, I've never really saw them fighting growing up. Like, to be honest.
But dynamic, you can feel a dynamic in a situation. Like my family, people would say, oh, we live in a patriarchy, male dominated. I was like, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. That was not my experience growing up. The women dominated in my family. So it was very skewed. And because of that, I didn't know how to show up for women. Because I thought in some way you had to defer to them. Women, and then I saw that they don't actually respect that. And then
I think that is a major issue is boys will grow up seeing their mom handling all of it. And so when they get in these relationships, they're oblivious to how much it takes to run households. Because right now, when I hear both sides, I hear women bitching because they won't say it this way, but they can't handle it. Not here. Not when you're also working another job. It's too much. And when you don't have somebody that's like aware of their flaws in the home, then it's like the one person that you can trust is going to like pick up the slack when you slack doesn't. They just make it more difficult. No wonder women are filing more. Is that a reason for divorce? Have you ever lived with a shitty roommate? There's nothing that makes me want to fuck you less like your dirty underwear on the floor. There's nothing that makes me want to fuck you less when you only do the dishes to get laid. Like you're desperate and you're annoying. And these are flaws of mine. I'm just telling you like it is. This is one of the reasons why people hate me. But I can absolutely ooh, it's so disgusting. But yet men have needs and I have to show up for their needs while they disregard mine. Got it. No wonder women don't like to have sex with their husbands. It's a harsh reality. I want to be the one, if I ever do get married, I would like to be the one that's like horny for my husband. Like, even saying that, have you like ever heard that? I'm sexy. Just kidding. But you know what I mean? Because when you take on the mother role to a man, it is, you so don't want to fuck them. And when they huff and puff, it makes me hate you. I can't help it. I can't help it. And you know what sucks the most is that I know if we have sex, it would probably make me not yell at you for leaving a cabinet open. But I don't want to fuck you. Fix it. I don't know how to fix it, but I so desperately want you to. That's what sucks. It's like you don't know. Like, I know from the female side, it's really easy to be like, oh, he's being so like, I don't want to fuck him. But then the guys will retaliate too, understandably, because at the end of the day, we both have our own autonomy. But then when they do it, women just think that, oh, you think it's all about you. You want it all, but I'm telling you, I can't do this. Like, this is why people will say they're complementary. I think they're adversarial. I don't think men and women are meant to live together like naturally. I think that's like, we have to learn how to work with each other. And to be honest, it takes awareness on both sides. And I don't know if most people get that. I don't know. I would be a horrible future ex-wife. Don't marry me.
To go on this journey of like finding my inner authority, and that's why I ultimately got married. And we had to go through that ourselves, because when I said to her,
wait. Hold on. I see comments. How do you think men feel when they have to wait? Okay, hold on. How do you think men feel about women they gotta be a father to? Can you tell me what that looks like to you? Because I feel like we mix up protect and providing. Because nurturing is not there's a difference between being a nurturing person and then being a mother. A mother is like it's almost like you remove your own autonomy because you're incapable. But it's funny because when you listen to therapists talk, like couples therapists and stuff, they always talk about how men hate when women take on a motherly role. They just struggle with how to communicate that. So it's like men don't like it either, you know? I don't know. Like, once you get to that position, it would be really difficult in my brain, who I find myself to be pretty cooperative and self-aware. It would be really hard to come back from that. I think I would forever see you that way, unless you do something hot or make me think that other women want you in some regard and like ignore me a bit, which is toxic. I don't recommend that for a lot of people. I just know that it could work in my relationship. It would make me step up my game. I don't know, it's fucked up. Trauma shows. Trauma. Why didn't they show up, Pearl? Wait, did I play the wrong video? My bad. I played it on my actual YouTube. I'm listening over here.
This is before we got married. Like, I don't.
Did you get married in Texas?
Yeah.
Oh no.
Wait, are the laws really bad over there? Oh no. Oh no.
Waiting for this.
Oh God.
I was waiting for this. Why?
Oh, they have alimony.
Oh God. Texas is one of the worst I've seen. I know there's one thing that's better about Texas. I can't remember if it's a child support cap or
let's say
a 50-50 custody cap. I can't remember. There's one thing that's better slightly about Texas, but I've seen the most expensive, worst divorces.
If I had to guess, I think it's going to be that they look at the both parents' income to determine child support.
Yeah, I can imagine. Well, there's all that oil money and
for you, though. I really do.
Well, when you said you told me congratulations, and I felt a sweetness.
Conservatorship,
Yeah.
Like you were
a
happy for
joint.
me.
I always
Yeah.
wish happiness.
Yeah.
Just would I statistically bet on it?
Never tell me the odds.
Well, I think that's why people don't want to know them.
I understand.
Yeah,
I understand.
I think it's like, yeah.
Well, I think we're both. I think it's good you're fighting your battle. I think it's good I'm fighting my battle. In some way, what you're doing is trying to warn men and hold women accountable. And what I'm trying to do is strengthen men.
Yeah.
Is make you and if you're stronger, you're going to see the thing that.
Hold on, just for a moment. Texas, I lived there for a brief moment. I went homeless from Vegas to Texas. They got like a really weird highway thing going on. It's kind of cool because when let's say you take the wrong exit, you can just curve around instead of waiting at a light. It's like it literally will put you back on there. Like that's cool. Except if you get off at the wrong exit and you do that, you end up in traffic for a very long time, at least in Houston. Sam Houston Highway, I think is the name of it. That shit that's no joke. For those that are from Chicago, it's equivalent to being like on 294 by the traffic in Chicago, times that by 100. Like, what? Because the distance is so far. I don't know. It was weird.
The red flags that maybe you wouldn't see before you get married or avoid.
But people aren't as combative when they're intoxicated like they are in Chicago, which is crazy because we have more shootings. But in Texas, you like don't fuck with people. Like I was pulling out of a one of those lots that somebody would make money. You know, you buy the spot to park your car to go into a club. I was going in for a job interview, and when I came out, this pickup truck was like in the fucking way, and I literally got out of my car, like walking around to the trunk to grab something. Because I was like, we're gonna be here a while. But the guy that had the lot thought that I was getting out to confront the guy. I was like, I wouldn't. I don't think I've ever confronted a driver or like used the horn unless they were being a fucking idiot. Like cut me off or something. But he was like, that guy was drinking. I wouldn't go over there. He has a gun. I was like, and? Like, that's kind of strange. Why are you guys? I was like, oh yeah, we're in Texas. You would think you're not from Chicago, and it shows. I was like, yeah, they have a gun. But he's like, no, they'll like use the gun. I was like, really? I don't know. If you see somebody in Chicago with a gun, they're going to use it, you know? But in Chicago, in Texas, there's the threat. I don't know. Is it open carry? It was just weird. It was like, how do you know that? Strange. But ever since then, when I would go out for job interviews, because they're at night when people typically go out, I would always be like even more quiet. Weird. I don't
Get it
know.
all together.
Yeah, I think you can't out alpha the state. And so at the end of this day, the state has the big guns.
You can out.
What was that?
State.
Yeah, I disagree. Because at the end of the day, if a woman wants to leave, the state backs her.
You don't believe that? Well, look, there's a guy currently right now out alphaing the state, Donald Trump, all 91 allegations. He's going to fucking skate on all of them. Why? Because that's the ultimate alpha.
Yeah.
He fucking...
Okay, well, look up how much he paid to his ex-wife.
I understand. I understand.
That's not a good...
Well, he likes the racy women, and he can afford it.
No, my point is even Donald Trump got huge divorce.
Yeah.
I can't remember what it was, but I know the second wife like cheated with the bodyguard.
Mm-hmm.
And then, she...
Well, he was cheating all over the place. I mean,
yeah, it's Trump. What do you expect?
Mm-hmm.
Obviously.
You're not... Are you cynical about marriage?
Do you guys know why women cheat? It would be hard to know, but let's assume for a moment that it's because she has an emotional connection with him, whatever it is. Well, what's the reverse? A man who's not getting his physical needs met seeks out somebody to cheat on. So she's seeking somebody emotional, because sex will always be that way. Whether some people like to say it's only physical, but it's like at the end of the day, people cheat on each other because they're not getting something. If I had to take a guess, physical would be the man's, because with physical comes the emotional, supposedly. I don't know. You guys confuse me and scare me at the same time. You're funny, but like, I don't know. I don't want to know what goes on with the testosterone shit. But like in the reverse, like women aren't getting their emotional needs met. And is it as straightforward for men for her to just give you duty sex? Probably not. So before you think that well, the emotional needs are impossible, I hear you. Learn her period and shit will be a lot easier for you, my G. But if sex isn't just it for you when you're thinking about your physical needs, because there's like you want somebody who's enthusiastic, right? It's like you're complicated too. People are complicated, but we need to be more communicative and more honest. Babe, I don't like when you just fuck me like that. I want you to want to fuck me, right? You start to sound not like a woman, but you're starting to see how when women say, well, I want it like this, but I don't want you to do it like that. See? But I want you to fuck me, but I don't want you to feel like you have to fuck me. Follow me for more tips.
Not for me.
I can just see myself like 20 years down the line, just like live streaming, like he picked me or I picked one.
Mine's gonna be great.
because why? Why is yours gonna be great?
Wait, could you imagine?
You're single right now?
Everybody, I could just see it. Like I'm live streaming the marriage like a fucking loser, and then all of the chat is like R.I.P. R.I.P. for the man.
Huh? No, I'm dating someone.
Oh, you're dating someone?
Yeah.
Oh, how long have you been dating someone?
Not long, just like a couple months.
Oh, good.
So it's new.
He's in London?
Mm-mm.
Oh, he's here.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's why you're here.
Yeah.
I'm visiting my parents. Aww.
I like him. He's great.
That's amazing.
But it's like new, so I don't like to like say too much.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I think my future is gonna be great. But I think wealthy people live a different reality. And I think a lot of times what I find is like I think marriage is going to be an upper class institution.
Interesting.
And I think the middle class, it'll disappear. And that's what you're seeing. And
What
I
are
think
they?
a lot of times
Mm-hmm.
the men that have money for divorce attorneys are like, oh yeah, just out alpha the state. And I'm like, yeah, okay, talk to a guy that's worked in a factory for 25 years.
Well, imagine like if you're upper class, your probabilities of divorce go down already. How are you in the upper middle class? They're both working. Well, good jobs. It's like, so why is it the middle class? Probably because the quality of life is not good. See how happiness, it spews into other areas. I want to do a debate on that. I don't like when secularists are like, we should just do what we want. It's like you're not grasping it. Like self-indulgence. I get it. Like, should you have the right to go in a tanning bed despite the fact that it's a number one, it's in a class 1 carcinogen in the same as cigarettes, like the same as cigarettes? Is like, should you be allowed to do XYZ? But I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you think happiness is a good debate? Put it in the chat.
And now at 50,
Looking for
his wife
ideas.
takes his pension.
Right. If you got 100 million, you can write the big check and just get an.
Thank you for the super chat. Keep your girl off OnlyFans one shit at a time. Sorry, Miguel. I can't put comments on the screen because I had one job and I fucked it up. Happy Friday.
Wife, which is what a lot of these guys do.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, I don't think they want to, but they're like, it's not the level of devastation that I see amongst middle class America.
Mm-hmm.
For those men, I've seen those they get it the hardest.
Mm-hmm.
Where the wealthy men, they'll take unless she gets into their business.
I think there's a really toxic, this is a hot ass take. Okay, hear me out. I have bartended in many cities all over the US, Vegas, Houston, Chicago, Scottsdale, whatever the fuck. I've talked to many men of every occupation, you name it, I've served it. Who was the most fun? And like, not by fun I mean like shoot the shit with. Who was a good tipper? Who was there long? Who was there probably the longest? Keep me company. The guys in construction, the guys in trades in general. And you know what I've noticed? There is a toxic culture that goes on with people who work really hard, labor filled jobs. And by toxic culture, I mean that's where your what do you call that? Cat callers. Like who's cat calling? The construction workers, keeping it 100, okay? Who are the guys that give each other like I feel like if there's anything I gathered about the construction workers, it's that they're always trying to not be that guy. Like there's always a guy in the group that they pick on. We can do a whole male social matrix thing just based on my experience. But I'm not saying that they're trying to make sure they're not manly, but there's more dudes being like, that's fucking gay. And you guys might say that this is how men communicate. Why is it that all the men that seem to be the happiest don't say those things? They can have fun with each other, do dumb shit like stacking up, I don't know, like beers and shit. Like you don't have to like make people feel like they have to be something that they're not. It's just high school all over again. And what happens is when you come home from your long ass day and your wife has not seen you, listen, if I put myself in a man's work boots for a moment and I get home and I take them off and you're already giving me shit, bitch. Like, go. All I'm is sitting on this recliner with a southern accent with a ice cold Corona. I picked up an 18 pack, y'all, because I gotta drown myself out of this bullshit. I gotta do it at 4 a.m. tomorrow. And I have my wife who is her nails look good. She is clean. My hands are black. Yeah. Maybe a mechanic. It's like if she's like, I feel like I don't see you, and you're like, huh? Like, and like you're like, I had to deal with all these men at work. You'll never say that. You'll just be like, oh, it's extravating this building and I inhaled a bunch of asbestos. Why don't you wear a mask? It's also a top 1 carcinogen. It's like I can see why marriages are failing. Women are annoying. The men are tired. Why do you guys just go to sleep? Okay, I want to talk to you.
That's pretty bad.
Say that again, unless she what?
She gets into their business.
Uh-huh.
Because that's really sad for a lot of guys. Like they'll the wife will get into their business and then like basically like there's one guy whose story I covered where the wife and he still made it. He still recovered, but she literally got him in jail and she ruined all of his clients and got him. He paid, I think, over $1 million in child or owed over $1 million in the divorce, and then he ended up in jail for not paying child support after.
I mean, $1 million is kind of a lot, Pearl. Like, what the fuck? How did you evade? Pay for your kid, yo. There's got to be an alternative. We got to come up with an alternative. I don't know. I could just like I'm psycho. And don't get me wrong, I'm a bitch. I wear the pants. Fuck out of my way type shit. But like if I've always been in amicable breakups. I'm sure if I had somebody's sperm that's alive and breathing on a leash, I'm just kidding. I'm just like, hey, like I really need money for diapers. I really need like XYZ. I'm sure they would give it to me, you know? It's like, can I have $600? Even if I was like, hey, I spent way too much on my weave last month. Can you help? Like, I'm sure they would. I think it's when you go to the courts that it's difficult. And then second to that, when you don't value human life, like your husband, your girlfriend, and you don't honor at least trying to be healthy about the way you communicate, just the way your relationship is, it's like, why did you even get married? Makes you wonder how many people just get married because it's like the right thing to do or for the wedding. It's like marriages that do well probably didn't. I don't think my parents had a wedding. They were both each other's uh, second wife, husband. It's like, but come on, like you should never take somebody like I'm psycho, like I just said. But there's one thing I've never done, and I am so proud that I can say this, but I've never taken somebody's weakness and thrown it on them in a fight. Not once. Not once. Is that the reason that I had amicable breakups? Probably. Yes, men want respect, but like women want respect in some regard. People should never take people's like weakness, whatever that thing. Everybody has a thing, whether it's so and so really fucked you over in your family or whatever, and then suddenly they're being buddy buddy with them out of nowhere, like, well, I talked to so and so, like something. It could be anything. Everybody has something. If you use that, well, you sure don't know how to reconcile relationships with so and so, so how can I expect you to do? Stop it. Anytime you fight with somebody, use I statements. That should be like in the marriage certificate. Like it should always be I statements. If somebody doesn't want to do something or if something is not getting done, it's because you don't see them in some regard, men or women. Like men don't want to take out the trash for you because they don't feel seen, whether that's because you've been starfishing for however long, like, but why are you starfishing? Like, get there. But it should always be find 10 things wrong and then always use I statements and always use the words I'm sorry before you like to explain why you did XYZ, ladies. Men, like I'm telling you, just from my experience with men, not even just relationships, like men genuinely don't hear I'm sorry. And men can go miles without it. You can be like, my behavior was really fucked up. I was on my period, and that's good for them. But I'm sorry goes a long way. Men too. Okay. But I know that I'm somebody that's like, you didn't even say sorry. I need to hear the words I'm sorry. And then they do.
$1 million. You know how pissed you'd be? And he had to like basically beg the judge to give him a lower thing and he didn't even have a job because his wife subpoenaed all of his clients.
You think I
Like,
snore?
oh my gosh, imagine you do therapy, right? You know, your wife subpoenas all of your clients. What does that do to your income in the future?
Yeah.
Yeah. They don't want to.
It's always men that snore. You want to know how people end up in separate bedrooms? Yeah, because we can't sleep next to y'all. You be snoring and entitled and shit. Just kidding. I can sleep through almost anything. Quite honestly, it helps me regulate my heartbeat.
Yeah.
You know.
Why do you have a sense of why it's gone this way? Why are we in this disastrous?
Well, I think it's because women voted.
Uh-huh.
So, because all of these policies, I guess some did start earlier. I know there was some in the 1800s, but a lot of these policies came after the 1920s, like after women voted. That's when abortion came. I think they changed the legal definition of rape in like the 60s, maybe. I'd have to look into it. But a lot of these policies are like voted for by women.
Women voting means
Democrat.
and so why is women voting bad? Like,
well, because I asked the men's rights activists, like, because men's rights has been around since at least the 1920s in the US. So you ask, why have they been so ineffective?
Because it's ran by women. Literally. That's your answer. Like 100%. Because it's ran by women.
You know, there's been a little bit of progress in maybe the last 2 years, but you asked the question, why can't men get access to their kids? This seems pretty simple. And they said it's because the
It's ran by
politicians will
for
never
women.
change the laws because
Yeah,
the
it probably
largest swing
is.
voters is single mothers. And you cannot, women are 55% of the population.
My
You
issue with the MRAs is what I just said. That's why it's funny. Like people in the RP space, gotta be careful. I'm on thin ice. It's because it's literally like feminism. I gotta be careful with that too, which is not always bad. It's just that it's unclear about what the goals are. It's unclear. You would think that MRAs would be advocating for the rights of men and men only, but they get on board with some of the stuff that might shock you. But more specifically, when it comes to equality, egalitarianism, that's not really on board with a lot of people. So they've been really ineffective. Ask Rollo. I dare you guys. Next time Rollo goes on, feel like, Rollo, tell us about the MRAs. He'll tell you about them. Which I don't mind the equality when it comes to child support. I think it should default 50-50. Sometimes I think about, could you imagine if the child had first say? I know some ages do, but like, let's say 7, they had say on who they wanted to live with. And they lived with them. Do you think that they would pick mom? Ask yourself that. And I'll say this. Typically, when you think about therapy or somebody had a toxic parent, the toxic, I'm sorry, normal people, like blue pill people will see dad really absent from the daughter's life, like didn't do anything, deadbeat, whatever. And it's like she goes to therapy. Guess who was a toxic parent? It's not the one that left. You would think it is, but it's usually whoever they spend the most time with. Isn't that crazy? So before you think you have daddy issues, it might be mommy issues, which I think women think men have because women end up having to mother them, or they feel like they have to. But again, feelings are just feelings.
Win an election without women.
Yeah, well, on every demographic currently in the United States is voting Republican, except for single women, white women, single white women.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going to say this now. If I have kids and I tell my son, what would I name him? What would I name my son? Costa. I like that name. If I said Costa, you're being a little dick. Stop doing that shit and go do your homework. If I hear my husband knock on Costa's room like, you want to play video games, I'm killing myself. that was dramatic. Not like actually, but I don't think I could take it. I don't think this way, I don't think I'm made out to like fucking get married or have kids. Something like that would destroy me. And I would be pouty for months. I would never get over it. Is that right or wrong? I think it's fucked up. Well, actually, why would a man do that, Tori, if you had to steel man the position? Because the child is combative, he's mad at mother, and I have to build some sort of connection with him before I reprimand him on being disrespectful to mom. Okay, I take it back. Never mind. I'll be fine.
You single white women.
I know. Well, and I've seen it firsthand because I've gone to like college. I wore a women shouldn't vote to a feminist convention.
Mm-hmm.
At like
Old
white women.
Yeah.
So I've seen it. Yeah.
They know they're crazy though. That there's hope there. I dated it before I met my wife. I dated a lovely, lovely woman.
Yeah.
Right. But she was a hardcore feminist. This was in LA, and she was the angry type, and she was blasting on Twitter every day. And we got into this huge fight and about this stuff. And I said to her, why are you fucking saying all this bullshit? You know that it's bullshit. I know that you know that it's bullshit. And she said, this is what I talk to my friends about. It was completely, and you've heard this phrase that all social movements are about people bonding, essentially. It's about social cohesion.
Yeah.
So that's what it's become. It's just an ideology that keeps people together. But isn't it, what do you think about this idea? Because this has been talked about. Why are liberal women, single liberal women, are they for immigrants coming in, particularly Muslim immigrants who are extraordinarily patriarchal, who many of them believe in Sharia law, and many of them want to have women back where they were 100 years ago? Why are those women want those guys in?
Women aren't logical. Good luck.
Well, maybe they want to be dominated.
What's he talking about?
Maybe they want to be led, and the men aren't doing. You heard Alexander.
Have you guys ever? Well, like, okay, but I've worked behind bars. You say a no to a man from Turkey, and it doesn't register. It's like, I'm sorry, miss, you don't have a choice. I'm like, God damn, I thought I was running this bar. Like, it's not asking permission. They just give notice. They don't fuck around. Same with the Assyrian men. Who else? Muslim, Turkish, Assyrian, Persian, Iranian. Did I say that right? Iranian. Yeah, it's not like you could say, yeah, no, I don't think I will agree to that. And they just so stoically are just like, I didn't ask you your opinion about it. Hot damn.
Mario Cortez, Ajax on Twitter. Feminism was a shit test that men failed.
That's kind of funny.
It is funny. I guess my point is, it goes to this, like, men have some fucking responsibility here.
I think most men don't, because again, only a small percentage of men. I've thought about this. Only a small percentage of men have political power. A very, so it's like you're going to go
Say
up.
more, because
Did you guys ever think about the fact that men are so against OnlyFans because it puts too much power and money into women? They don't want women to rule. It would take all the money away from them.
I think so. Okay.
Kidding.
What percent of men actually change the laws? What percent of men are
it's the people
pushing these laws? Like, very few men are in politics. If all the men got together and voted, they still wouldn't outvote women.
Right.
And I think it's like, okay, what more do we want men to do? They run the whole infrastructure. They pay most of the taxes, and we're still going to go and
You're telling me you can't persuade your woman to vote the right way? Then you're a weak man.
Well,
That's what I would say.
They do. Married women are more conservative. What are they supposed to do? Say women?
Well, that's the thing, is the women that get married, I think, are predominantly conservative. But like, they have more sons. I don't know. It's not like it really. It's like you have to appeal to women. I don't know. To me, it's voter fraud. Like, I feel like the more education you can give on people, the right education. I know millennials, it's like they don't know what the fuck is going on because everything's a lie or whatever. So education first before trying to say this group's bad. I think that we're just on the next. I think they'll wake up to it. There's a lot of maturing that goes on from there's a lot of maturing from 24 to 26. I'm sure there's going to be a whole nother maturing from 29. If I do the work, it's about me. 29 to 30. I'm sure there's many moments people's opinions change. But I also think that we need to help people live fulfilling lives in the event that they don't get married, aka like men predominantly, because they're lethal too to themselves. You know what I mean?
And stop being whores.
Well,
Good luck. Like you have
Can you make a hoe a housewife?
I want to.
Can you make a simp an alpha? Write that down. Write that down.
Say one celebrity, but I want to interview this celebrity as an example. So I'm not going to say.
She was a hoe that turned housewife?
Yeah, there's one I could think of, but that's not the rule.
It's not the rule.
No,
Yeah.
it's not the rule. Sometimes
Guys, if you ever see me baking muffins, he's fucking me good.
I've seen it, but I think like a hoe married to a guy with a backbone will be a better wife than
I want a man with a pair of balls, a backbone, 6'10", no man. Shuts up, sits down, knows where the doesn't like women. Wait, what was it? I'm looking for a man with a backbone. No tits, pair of balls, vice grip. Shuts up. I'm on to something. Vice grip. You could tell what was traumatizing in my youth.
a virgin married to a guy without one.
I think that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you know.
Yeah. Are you having fun?
I am.
How tell me about like
Sorry.
I don't know, like you have this Audacity network.
Oh yeah.
Guys,
Because
I
you
have to make
got-
an announcement. I cannot have children because they're going to be in the category of beta. I would die. I can't have a beta child. Is that what it would be? Or in the next 2 years? If I had a child in the next 6 months, they wouldn't be alpha. They'd be beta. I don't want it. Mm-mm. I would support it. If my child was a weak beta male. It's not funny. No, not my sons. I'm so emotionally unavailable. They're going to be cold too.
Demonetized on YouTube, is that right?
6 months ago.
6 months ago. You're
Brutal.
not, I think you got kicked off Instagram as well. Is that right? Or something?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I was deleted off of Instagram 2 or 3 times. I lost count. TikTok 7.
Okay, I'm going to go eat the chicken that I made. I did better this time, but it's still really dry. I really need tips. This is like a 10-year battle. But I'm trying not to eat after 1 o'clock. I didn't realize it was 12:37 already. But we're going to go over hygiene hacks tomorrow morning if I wake up, or afternoon, because I have a list that are literally going to change everybody's lives. Are you team loofah or team washcloth? If you say anything but washcloth, you're dead to me. Follow me. Subscribe so you get notified. I baked pie. I don't know. Someone write me a rap. Okay, like the video. Bye.